Mexico signs check to pay for Trump's border wall. Mexico has just signed a blank check to pay for President Trump's big, beautiful border wall, whether they like to admit it or not. In a masterful move, Trump sold the deal to the Mexican government as the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. NWOReport.me reports the end result is the same. $25 billion is only a fraction of what is about to flood northward across the border because of the destruction of NAFTA. They might as well start loading pallets of pesos for shipment. President Trump never thought for a split second that the Mexican government would make a single lump sum payment explicitly for the wall. As Daily Republic put it, Mexico will never cut a check to the U.S. Treasury, but President Donald Trump is zeroing in on a plan so that the president can argue America's southern neighbor will indeed fund the border wall. He didn't even have to tax remittances or threaten a VAT tax to do it. That powerful plan bore fruit this week. Once again, President Trump did what his predecessors called impossible and made it look easy. Well, that's the Trump way. Because he bluntly told everyone involved exactly what he was doing, then he did it. U.S. workers, car makers, manufacturers, and especially taxpayers will benefit, Wayne Allen Root reports for Town Hall. Trump did it. He won. We all won, Root declares. He guarantees the trade deal just signed will save us tens of billions, perhaps hundreds of billions of dollars over the next decade. Even constructing the Cadillac model of the wall would come in under $25 billion. A drop in the bucket compared to what is in store for our industries. Once again, he writes, Trump accomplished what establishment politicians of both parties said could never be done. You can cross off another campaign promise kept too. He has long blamed the 24-year-old NAFTA trade pact for decimating the U.S. manufacturing industry and the loss of thousands of factory jobs. That they wanted to bring us to a third world country. That's why they were doing away with the factory jobs here in this country. And Trump is bringing it back. Stock in the Kansas City Southern Railroad jumped to a 3.5-year high on news of the deal's acceptance, Market Watch reports. They upgraded the railroad operator because this week's trade deal with Mexico removed a wall of worry by removing a major hurdle for KSU investors, market analyst Jason Seidel of Cohen and Company advised. The company gets nearly half its revenue from Mexico. Steel is about to make a big comeback because of the deal too. S&P Global Platts announced Wednesday that Nucor is ramping up to build a new galvanized plant in central Mexico as part of a 50-50 joint venture with Japan's JFE. The company's CEO, John Ferriola, agrees with the Trump administration that NAFTA needed to be updated, especially rules of origin stipulations in the current agreement. In Salt Lake City, Utah, Derek Miller is the president and CEO of the Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce. He's convinced that the deal will bring predictability and stability to local manufacturers. Exports from Utah to Mexico have grown over 300% in the last 10 years, Miller asserts. A trade agreement with Mexico outlines the rules of the game so Utah companies can get in the game and win. He hopes Canada will take the hint and strike a similar bargain. Utah does even more business with Canada than they do Mexico. Even left-leaning liberals have something to be happy about. The new pact, Liberal Vox reports, includes several labor rules meant to benefit workers on both sides of the border. Vox also notes American auto companies that assemble their cars in Mexico would also need to use more U.S.-made car parts to avoid tariffs, which would help U.S. factory workers. Another thing the deal calls for is increased wages for Mexican workers. About 40% of those cars would need to be made by workers earning at least $16 an hour, which they point out is 3 times more than Mexico's minimum wage. A notice of the finalized agreement will be sent to Congress on Friday. President Trump is practically glowing. I like to call this deal the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. I think it's an elegant name, he said Monday, knowing that made the Canadians a little nervous because their name isn't on the deal. He also called Canada a smaller, quote, segment compared with Mexico, who he referred to as a very large trading partner. Media pundits were quick to feign confusion, but they stammer. Canada is a dominant exporter of crude oil to the United States, insider analyst Manufacturing defends. Well, that was then. It seems that since we have been stockpiling oil for 40 years, we might not be needing the Canadian crude much longer. The U.S. now has refining ability that we haven't had for decades, and we can actually start burning some domestic dead dinosaurs until the oil market loosens up again. Under the Mexico agreement, 75% of cars will be required to be made with North American parts, and 70% of the steel, aluminum, and glass used to make a vehicle must also originate in North America, Manufacturing reports. As Washington Post observer back in January, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto told an assembly of top diplomats last week that Mexico, of course, will not pay for Donald Trump's wall. His predecessor, former President Vincent Fox, put it more bluntly, declaring, "Trump, when will you understand that I am not paying for that profanity wall?" For all intents and purposes, when Mexico caved in to Trump's demands for a level playing field to trade on, they might as well have directly signed a profanity check. Absolutely. But you got to leave it to Trump. I mean, he knows how to do deals where they don't even know what hit them, you see. But this is what they wanted. They wanted this NAFTA deal to bring us down to a third world country. But Trump, yeah, that's the faces of Obama and Biden after this deal. Yeah, absolutely. Even though it doesn't pertain to this article, but yeah, that's the face. Absolutely. Trump is a winner, and he puts the deal on the table, and it benefits America because he is an America first president, and he will. With all his might, he's working, no matter the backlash, to make America great again, because it has been slowly and surely chipped away and destroyed by the Democrat liberal nut jobs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.